Happy Friday, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also, home to the best MJ community. It is May 3rd. Hope you're doing awesome. And in this video, we got an exciting one. Germany, big news out of Germany. It's going to be regarding Pillar 2, and they're looking to move forward with commercial sales and that second phase of legalization. And they're looking to do through regulations rather than through another bill. So we're going to discuss this and more. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff to be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Also, if you haven't seen my interview with Morgan Fox, political director at Normal, I posted that earlier on today. We discuss the rescheduling decision from DEA and possibility of descheduling and even more. So I highly encourage you to check that out. And then if you want to follow us over on X as well, the handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And also, if you want to check out Weejits, I put a link in the description of this video. You can get 10% off your order. They've got some pretty awesome products on there. So I've been looking at the website, actually in the process of putting an order through myself. So if you want to get 10% off, check out the description. It helps support the channel as well. So here's the MJ Moment article. Germany's government seeks to launch MJ sales pilot program through regulations instead of another bill, report says. And you can see you're dated May 3rd. Seems like there's no shortage of positive news lately, but we haven't seen that much movement in MJ stocks. But in my opinion, it's just starting to heat up. We're just starting to see monthly uptrends confirm across the sector. MSOS ETF confirming the first ever monthly uptrend, and we're starting to see one by one names starting to do so. And like I said, I think we're going to see even more catalysts. We're going to see Florida potentially enacted. That's going to be in the ballot for 2024. And then we also have a bunch of other bullish catalysts, which would be Germany's second pillar, and then also MJ banking, and then the enactment of Schedule 3 and the potential of full-blown descheduling. We know there's the CAOA, which was reintroduced to federally legalize MJ. And again, you can check out the interview with Morgan Fox that I posted today. We discussed that. But I've been mentioning this a few times now. I added an app to the Pow Group private community as well. So private members, paid members, you'll be able to use that within the Pow Group community. But I really like this summarize bot. Basically, it takes lengthy articles and you can change the how long it is. So you can go to 50%. That'll save you like 2 minutes, or you can go to smaller or larger. Basically, it'll just summarize it a little bit more or a little bit less, and it saves you time. So, and then also gets rid of these pictures that YouTube tends to flag. So, generally, try not to say the word or show pictures of the plant, because if I do, then it starts to shadow ban my video. The algorithm doesn't like it, and it doesn't get out to as many people as possible, right? And I could care less, how much money I make off of my videos. I just want to spread the MJ gospel and get this out to as many people as possible. And the only way to do that is to really play within the guidelines. But that's another thing that we can look forward to as well, right? As influencers and as an industry, once we start to see, the stigma go away, once we start to see reform, I'm not sure if Schedule 3 would do it, but, if we get descheduled and removed from the CSA altogether, that's when I think, a lot of these advertisers and whatnot are not going to be so, up in arms when it comes to this sort of thing, right? If it gets descheduled and legal at the federal level, that's when I think, all of these videos and whatnot with pertaining to the industry aren't going to get flagged. But anyway, that was a lot to say, but it's just another example of how much growth we have, right? Can't even do normal advertising here in Canada, and we've been legal since 2018. So, and then just imagine, Super Bowl commercials and whatnot. So here's the details. Germany's government is moving forward with the second phase of MJ legalization to create a pilot program for commercial sales through an administrative process rather than having lawmakers pass a separate bill to enact the reform as initially expected. So this is good news. While it's long been assumed that legislators would need to introduce and pass complementary sales legislation to fulfill the second pillar of legalization, the federal government is apparently taking a rulemaking approach that may speed up implementation. So again, we need to always be ready for a surprise. When no one thinks anything's coming soon, you always need to be on the lookout for a surprise, right? And this is an example of that. Markets can go up, down, and sideways, but we need to always be prepared for a surprise. And one surprise as well that the market likely isn't thinking of is the potential for descheduling and bypassing of Schedule 3, right? We're getting a lot of people in the industry, advocates for the industry, pro-MJ advocates, saying that, Schedule 3 is not enough. And while I would agree, it's definitely a step in the right direction and gets the ball rolling. And it's going to be a lot easier to pass these different types of bills when it's no longer on the same list as heroin and LSD, right? If it's on the same list as, codeine and Tylenol, then that's a little bit easier of a sell, right? But all steps in the right direction and dominoes starting to fall. MJ legalization was implemented under a bill that the Federal Ministry of Health spearheaded and went into effect at the beginning of last month, so April 1st. So adults are now able to possess and cultivate MJ. In addition to joining cooperatives, they are expected to launch in July, where they could access the plant. Agriculture officials have reportedly circulated a letter soliciting input on possible regulations to allow for retail sales under a pilot program, which comments are due by May 10th. So it looks like it's, like I said, they're rolling it right along. They're not wasting any time here. Health Minister Karl Lauterbach, who has led the government's MJ legalization efforts, told members of the Bundestag in December that we are currently examining the commercial sales plan. So as we know, right now it's not for profit and cultivation, possession, that type of thing, social clubs. And then pillar 2 will be for profit and adult use sales, right? Commercial sales, which, names like High Tide, for example, they've been, very adamant and vocal that it's going to be massive for their business as well, right? So just imagine the amount of growth, double Canada's population, and then double just in Germany, and then Europe, over 400 million people, and once again the dominoes are already falling. Once the rest of the EU and there's so much, and then the US, rest of the world, there's so much growth it's not even funny. Meanwhile, the Bundesrat, representing individual states, previously tried to block the now enacted legalization proposal last September, but ultimately failed, right? Despite that, members of the Bundesrat ultimately reached a deal with Lauterbach and other government ministers and declined to refer the MJ legalization to a mediation committee that would have delayed implementation by 6 months. While Germany's federal cabinet approved the initial framework for the legalization measure in late 2022, the government also said it wanted to get sign-off from the EU to ensure an active reform wouldn't put them in violation of their international obligations. And as we know, Germany is following Canada, and that's been an argument in the US as well, as saying that, well, if we deschedule it, that's going to violate international treaties and whatnot. So again, if Germany and Canada are doing it, even Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, said, the UN hasn't contacted us at all about it. Like, basically, it's just been crickets. So if they can do it, why can't the US? Again, we always have to be ready for a surprise. Officials took a first step forward toward legalization in 2022, kicking off a series of hearings meant to help inform legislation to end prohibition in the country. Government officials from multiple countries, including the US, have also met in Germany. This is something I've covered on the channel. So again, it's just everything's going in the right direction, right? And the writing's on the wall. So they met with multiple countries, including the US, in Germany last November to discuss international MJ policy issues as the host nation works to enact legalization. And a group of German lawmakers, as well as Narcotics Drugs Commissioner Burkhard Bleinert, separately visited the US and toured California MJ businesses in 2022 to inform their country's approach to legalization. A novel international survey that was released in 2022 found majority support for legalization in several key European countries, including Germany, right? So it's just a matter of time. We've already seen there's tons of medical sales over there in the United Kingdom and whatnot as well. And a lot of these Canadian companies have very big head starts, but we know that Cureleaf just acquired another small Canadian operator. So they essentially became an LP, which I've been saying is going to be a trend that we're going to see. And then Canopy USA now acquiring acreage, right, becoming an MSO. This trend is only going to continue, and that's going to help with international markets for Cureleaf as well. So Cureleaf, one of the, if not the only one in the U.S. that I'm aware of that has any kind of international footprint. So this is great news. Like I said, a lot of people were probably expecting this was going, myself included. I thought we probably wouldn't even get any updates until maybe, toward the end of the year, and maybe at some point in 2025, 2026, Pillar 2 gets enacted. But it's looking like that process could be, nothing's set in stone yet, but it looks like that very well could be happening a lot sooner rather than later, a lot sooner than most of us have expected, that's for sure. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on this news in the comment section below. and we'll continue the conversation there. Always love hearing from you. But going into there, it's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. And if you enjoyed the video today, smash like, share with your network. I'd appreciate it. And again, happy Friday. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you again on the next video.